Now we're ready to insert a north arrow, scale text, and scale bar. And we'll start with the north arrow. And I'll rough it in again on my layout. That looks good. And now I want to add my scale text. So under dynamic text, I'm going to select relative scale, place it on my layout. Now, it's not correct. The units are wrong and the numbers are wrong. It should be 1 centimeter equals 30 meters. So with the relative text selected, I'm going to go to the properties, and then under options panel, there you can see I've got under my text, the text, and also a scale variable. I'm going to click on the scale variable so I can access the variable. And I'm going to change the page units to cm for centimeters and the map units to m for meters. And when I do that and click OK, you'll see the numbers actually update. They're correct, but my units are not. So I'm going to do that by updating the text. So change inch to cm for centimeters and miles to m for meters. That looks a lot better. Now I need to reformat my text. So with it selected, I'm going to make it maybe, how about 10 points? And then reposition it on my layout. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm ready to insert my scale bar. So again, on the insert ribbon under map surrounds, I'm going to click on the scale bar dropdown. And when I do scale text, I like to use an alternating scale bar too. So I'm going to click and drag that in. And then now I need to update the property so it reflects the design and layout that I want. So with it selected, I'm going to go to design. And under divisions, the first thing I always do is change the fitting strategy from adjust division value to adjust width. This allows me to adjust the divisional value. Now it's too small right now, and that's because the units are set to miles. I'm going to set them to meters and then adjust the divisional value and see the real-time changes in my layout for the scale bar using a 30, which is the same scale as my map view. All right, that looks good. Make it a little bit less complex, reduce the number of divisions to 2 and the subdivisions to 1. I don't really need the subdivisions. Get rid of the label because my scale text has a label in it. And then the last thing I need, I have that little 15 in that subdivision. So under the scale bar properties, under the properties panel, under numbers and frequency, I'm going to change it to simply just divisions. Now I have a very simple thematic scale bar. Now I'm ready to align it with my other elements. And so I need to create a guide first, what I'm going to align it to, and then I'm going to select my elements. And I can either do that interactively in my layout. You can see it selected in the contents, or I can select the items holding the shift key in my contents. Now with them selected, I'm going to right click and select align and align center. And now I want to align it to the guide. And it's not doing it exactly right, so I'm going to zoom in and get it exactly how I want it. All right, that looks good. I'm going to zoom back out by going to the layout ribbon under navigate, click zoom to extent. That looks pretty good. I think the last thing I need to do is my numbers aren't a consistent point size. My scale text is 10 and my scale bar is 12. So I'm going to select my scale bar, and under scale bar ribbon, I'm going to change the point size to 10 so it's all consistent. All right, that looks really great. Now that we have visualized our analysis, we need to quantify it as well. And we're going to use a call out to do that. So under graphics and text, I'm going to click on the rectangular text, click and drag a rectangle onto my layout, and then update the text to reflect one of my findings. In this case, for the vector analysis, I found that 62% of all cholera deaths were in closest walking distance of the Broad Street pump. All right, that adds my text. I like to add it as rectangle text because I can resize and it rewraps my paragraph. Now I want to convert my rectangle text into a call out. And I do that by selecting the rectangle text and going to the properties. In this case, for the text symbol, I'm going to update the appearance so it's a little higher on the visual hierarchy, maybe change it from 10 to 12. And then scroll down and find call out. There it is right there. And then click the call out drop down to add, in this case, a balloon call out. I'm going to change the color of the balloon to a pale yellow. The outline is black, but I can't see it because the outline width is 0. So I'm going to change it to 0.5. All right, that looks really good, but it doesn't have a leader. And so over in the contents pane, I need to right click the element and say add leader. Now I'm going to reposition the call out in my layout on top of my map, as well as the leader. That looks great. The last element we want to add to our layout is a source note that documents things like who created it, for whom, and when they created it. So I'm going to click on straight text and click and drag on my map. Type in my source note, map created by your name for ACC Intermediate GIS on the date you completed the map. All right, the source note is a little higher on the visual hierarchy. I want to make the point size smaller. How about 8 points? Reposition it in my layout. All right, now I want to review my map one more time and make sure it's exactly how I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and refine the placement of some of my elements. Once you've finalized your layout, we want to reorder the contents items because we're going to use the vector analysis map as a layout template to create other layouts. So our items kind of have some generic names. I'm going to select them in the contents pane, look at them in the layout, and then rename them accordingly. For example, title, subtitle, scale text, call out, and source note. Great. Go ahead and save your ArcGIS Pro project. Now I'm ready to use my vector analysis layout as a template for my raster analysis layout. So in the catalog pane, I'm going to right click on the vector analysis layout and select duplicate. Go ahead and rename it as raster analysis. Open that up. Of course, you can see it listed in the catalog pane, the tab in the layout view, and of course in the contents pane as well. And now I need to update all the elements to reflect my raster analysis, including, for example, the title, and the map frame. So to update the map frame, select the map frame, and then right click and go to properties. And then in the map frame element properties, I'm going to go to options, and under map frame, click on the map drop down button and select, in this case, raster analysis. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't keep my same area of interest, but I created a bookmark, remember? So with the map frame selected, I can go to Layout and under Bookmarks, select AOI. And of course, now it uses the exact same map extent and scale as my other map. Now you just need to update all your other elements, including the call out, for example, and the legend. I'm going to go ahead and create the starter for my geostatistical analysis layout as well. Now all you need to do are update the raster and geostatistical analysis layouts and complete your executive summary and you're good to go. Now I'm going to create my final deliverables. I'll begin by activating the share ribbon and under output, click on the export layout and I'm going to select flattened PDF. And in the export layout pane, under file type, it's already set to PDF, but just to make sure, under name, I'm going to browse to the location where I'm going to save it. In this case, it's in my project home folder. And I want to create a new folder. So I'm going to go to new item and folder and call it 10_deliverables. And then double click in that folder. And inside the 10_deliverables folder, I'm going to save it as vector_analysis.pdf. Click OK. The other thing I want to do is update the resolution. I want to make it a little higher resolution, so 300 instead of 150 dpi, and then click export. All right, that created my Adobe PDF map, and if I go to Windows File Explorer and browse to my course folder, and inside my Ghost Map project folder, 10 deliverables, I'll find my vector analysis PDF. And of course, I'm going to verify that it's good, open it up. Yeah, it looks great. Go ahead and close it. Now I've already created all of my Adobe PDF documents, but I need to combine them into a multi-page Adobe PDF that I turn in to my course website. So if I go and open a browser and search for combine or merge PDF, I can find online services that will do this. And I like to use the Adobe one because it tends to be a little bit less junk associated with the website. And I'm just going to select and drag all 4 Adobe PDF documents onto the tool. And now that they've been uploaded, I can do things like reorder them. And I want to lead with my executive summary and then present my analyses in the order I introduced them in the executive summary. So I'm going to go ahead and reorder them all. Once they're good to go, I'm going to click on the Combine button. That's going to combine the 4 single Adobe PDFs into a multi-page Adobe PDF that I can then download from the website. I'm going to download it into my 10_deliverables folder using the same naming specification that's listed in the statement of work with the date, your name, and Ghost Map separated by underscores. Click Save. All right, and if I look in Windows File Explorer, there I can see my final deliverable. Now let's check in with the statement of work. The last 2 pages of the statement of work include a sample layout for your vector analysis map with required layers and map elements, and the Ghost Map grading rubric, which includes the grading criteria your instructor will use to grade your Ghost Map. Be sure to use the Ghost Map grading rubric to review and revise your deliverables as needed. All right, congratulations on completing the Analyzing the Ghost Map project.